Hi everyone, we're from Syndicate 4 of BLEMBA 64B plus SBM ITB. We would like to present you our work of scenario planning, driving change in banking industry. Our syndicate consists of 4 professionals, each from different industries, and happy to present you this project. Let's start from the beginning. What is banking? And what is the history behind the modern banking process?
Bank, a term that has become an integral part of our lives. From saving money, booking online tickets, taking a loan, to any other money-related operations. Banks have become the bridge that connect us with money. But how did they come into existence all of a sudden? Let's turn over the pages of banking history. The first banking system was started in Italy. In the Middle Ages, Italians used to carry out their commercial trading and transactions sitting on a bench. In Italian, the word banco refers to a bench. With the intervention of many clients and customers, the word banco underwent changes and became bank. Technically, banking system was started right in the Paleolithic age with the advent of barter system. People exchanged and traded goods they already had for things they needed. It was beneficial up till the point when people felt that they required a common commercial tool for trading. As gold was commonly used by everyone, people started using gold coins as a trading tool, which led to the birth of banks. The inception of banks was mainly due to 2 kinds of people, the merchants and the goldsmiths. The traditional banking system was initiated through the concept of safe deposits. When the merchants traveled all over the world, they needed a place to safeguard their gold coins. Hence, they approached the goldsmiths to store these surplus gold in their safety vaults. This is how safe deposits came into existence. When the money was idle in the safety vault, the goldsmiths started lending it to people, earning an interest from it. He also gave a part of the profit to the merchants as an incentive, encouraging them to deposit more gold coins with him. This paved way for the savings bank or deposit scheme in the later stages and is still considered to be one of the safest investment plans. These can be rightly called the stepping stones to the conventional banking system. The world's first bank is the Bank of St. George in Italy, which was founded in 1407, whereas Monte dei Paschi is the oldest surviving bank since its inception in 1472. With technological advancement, the whole banking process is now confined to small mediums like computers and mobiles, which have made banking a simple.
As we know that our world is changing, technology is advancing towards automation and blazing connectivity between business and to its customers. Before we go into the banking and its technological advancement in the modern era, we should first understand Industry 4.0.
What is Industry 4.0 and what does it mean for you? Technology is driving change across all areas of society. Not only do we increasingly use it and even rely on it in our personal lives, we also find our workplaces digitally evolving, with more and more processes now being undertaken using technology. This change is known as the 4th Industrial Revolution, or Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 will see many tasks that were once performed by us now being automated. With the collection and analysis of real-time data, artificial intelligence, and the ability for all components of a production line to talk to each other, production can be really efficient and personalized according to customer needs. But what does this mean for us? With increased automation, our time will be freed up for concentrating on more complex tasks. We will need a workforce who are capable of building, programming and developing these technologies, but also making sure we are applying them to our lives in an ethical way. There are core skills that we can offer that technology cannot replace. The human touch is going to be incredibly important, ensuring effective communication, problem solving and supporting change management in this digital environment. There will also be a greater need for joint working across disciplines, creating new innovations. The future job market will be looking for graduates with an open mind to explore the unknown future possibilities. We will all need to develop our skills in order to adapt to this ever-changing environment. What will you do to make sure you are ready and have the right skills to thrive in the fourth industrial revolution?
We have learned briefly about the Industry 4.0. Now, how is it affecting the banking industry? As explained from the previous segment, banking process has a long historical background. Fast forward to the 19th century, we have Banking 1.0, in which bank was in the role of mediatory for financial transactions and essential in the distribution of wealth in the economy. Banking went into its 2.0 and 3.0 version, which in the advancement of the technology with the automatic teller machine, debit or credit card transaction methods. This leads to self-service and automation services. Banking 4.0, which the banking system will integrate within the personal lives with topics of intelligence, sharing, and evolutionary computing are discussed.
In the future, banking industry landscape will never be the same. We are entering the volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity era where the business environment is turbulent and uncertain. Business landscape analysis are used to develop a strategic roadmap that will serve as a guide in carrying out business strategy by examining various drivers of change and predicting their impact on the company's business and operations. Changing factors like technology, social culture, political, legal, market, and economy will affect the external factor, which is customers and competitors. As a value demander, customers are reading the change. It will create a new customer profile, and to anticipate, the banking industry needs new value requirements. For example, the tech-savvy generation demanding all transaction banking completely online, so the banking industry needs new requirements to accommodate it. On the other side, as a value supplier, competitors are ready to change. It will create a new competitive setting, and to anticipate, the banking industry needs new value proposition. For example, fintech company that provide e-wallet or online financing offer convenience and speed of processing to customers because it has a different business process compared to a more rigid and complex banking system. So, if changing factor in banking industry has started to happen now as a marker of digital banking era, the question is, how will digital banking advancement affecting conventional banking system in the next 10 years? In politics, some of them like government policies, visions of the ruling government, application of digital governance will affect the company transformation in the financial services sector. Social aspect also influence the process advancement of digital banking like growth populations and age distribution, where in the next 10 years, population will be dominated by the tech-savvy generation. In the field of technology, of course, it's very influential regarding how we adopt technology development, rapid growth of autonomous technology, and how acceleration of technology accessibility in society. Environment aspect also influence like climate change that will impact the increasing demand of financial security if some disaster happens, or pandemic situation like COVID-19 that happens now. It is very possible that a new pandemic situation will occur in the future. Legal aspect like national banking law, national investment law, or the blueprint of digital banking transformation launched by OJK will also affect the digital banking advancement. After we have 26 driving factors that affect the process advancement of digital banking, we have to mapping all these factors into the graph of impact to uncertainty. And then we start to determine critical uncertainties by looking at the top two that are most influential and uncertain. From the graph, we can see that factor number 1 and number 16 are the top two. So we will elaborate the next step from only these two factors.
How will digital banking advancement affecting to conventional banking system in the next 10 years? Here are the analysis scenario elements. The framework of the scenario metric consists of two axes that represent advancement technology and government policies. For the horizontal axis, the right of axis direction represent how strong the influence, and the left of the axis direction represent the weaker influence. The same thing happen on the vertical axis. The higher axis represent how strong the influence is, while the lower axis will be weaker the influence. The first quadrant, if advancement technology fast and government regulation loose, will cause chaotic disorder. The second quadrant, if advancement technology fast and the government regulation tight, it will cause utopia. The third quadrant, if advancement technology low and the government regulation is tight, will cause tyranny. And the last quadrant, if the government policy loose and advancement technology also slow, will cause the tradition. Based on this framework, to elaborate all aspects, the best scenario and first milestone is the second quadrant. Since digital banking user growth is the same as conventional banking, and there are any synergy between the digital banking and the conventional banking system.
When we already have the scenarios, we will also have the narratives. That which scenarios will happen in next 10 years, the headlines of the news media narrative will look like.
We already conclude that the digital banking advancement effect on the conventional banking in the next 10 years will look like. Our syndicate propose each of the action to be done in the next scenario. Number 1, in the utopia scenario, the implication of this scenario is that the banking industry will have a high competition, moderate profitability, and moderate market share environment. Thus, the company should engage new customer, building new customer segmentation, and focusing to synchronize digital and conventional banking. Number 2, the chaotic disorder scenario. The implication of this scenario is that conventional banking will face a high competition, lower profitability, and low market share. Thus, companies should innovate financial instruments, further engage current priority customer, engaging large enterprise customer, business to business, and increasing efficiency. Tyranny scenario, or the third scenario. The implication of this scenario will be slow growth in both digital and conventional banking, and low level of innovation. By engaging current customer, increasing service quality, and engage the government to subsidize the technological advancement will be beneficial for the company and industry. And the tradition scenario, with slow technology advancement and loose government policy, the implication in the company will be high completion turnover, low innovation, and low business competition.
Each scenario will have its early warning signs that, if in the short term, any of the conditions occurs, that the company should shift its strategy to the appropriate actions of each scenario. In the utopian scenario, there will be early signs of high growth in both digital and conventional banking transactions, and new restrictive policies in banking focusing on integration between digital and conventional banking transactions. Chaotic disorder scenario will occur if there are high growth only in the digital banking, while stagnant or negative growth in conventional banking by its transactions and shifting to automation and decrease in clerical jobs. While in tyranny scenario, there will be signs that government is focusing on the conventional banking system regulations and surveillance, while also highly regulate and controlling technological advancement in banking and other industry. Last but not least is the tradition scenario, in which there will be signs of national political turbulence, shifting to a more conservative regulation in the banking sector, while also slowing trend of innovations in the technological advancement.